Way back in 1985, we were in a similar situation. That year, we experienced a sudden recession. Annual GDP growth turned negative for the first time since independence. Once the situation stabilized, we went on the offensive. I went with EDB on a marketing pitch all over the world to reassure investors, explain to them what we were doing, and bring in more investments for Singapore. We placed a full-page advertisement in the Wall Street Journal with an eye-catching headline. Who would be mad enough to invest in Singapore in a recession? Nowadays, people might call this clickbait. The advertisement carried signatures of 9 global heads of multinationals, including Apple, Seagate, and Motorola. And several of these companies are still here today, 35 years later. Why were these MNCs prepared to invest in Singapore during such an economic crisis and to sign on with Singapore? First, they knew Singaporeans were industrious and capable workers, the best workforce in the world. Second, they had experienced our tripartite relationship. Our unions were like no other unions they had encountered anywhere else in the world. Our unions and the NTUC cooperate closely with employers and government to generate growth and jobs for workers. They are not opponents to be countered, but partners in progress. Third, the investors had high regard for our public service. EDB was a one-stop shop where they could settle all their problems. Other countries have one-stop shops too. The difference is that their governments do not work as one, so their one-stop shops cannot make things happen across the government, as the EDB can. Fourth, investors knew Singapore had a first-rate government. They had interacted with our ministers. They knew our quality. One of them told one of our ministers, "After meeting you, we decided to invest in Singapore." It was sincerely meant and a huge compliment. And finally, the investors knew the government enjoyed Singaporeans' strong support. So the ministers could take decisive steps if needed and make the right decisions to promote job growth and create jobs. Maintaining this high reputation is a matter of survival for all of us. Singapore is a small country with many limitations. You know them by heart. We must show the world that we are indeed special and can sustain our edge over other countries and cities. Then MNCs will invest in us, other countries will take us seriously, and Singapore has a place in the sun. Otherwise, we will just fade away and be forgotten, like so many city-states in history.